All right, B.
Oh, man. We got to do it. Jeff Dern was awesome, by the way. Jeff Dern was awesome. And also, I want to bring this up to our poll, our Twitter poll of the day. We should do this every day. We should have a Twitter question of the day. And it's the Superbad or American Pie. Which movie do you prefer? Because this is the 15-year anniversary of Superbad when it was released in theaters.
So how old were they? Okay, I feel, 15 years ago.
I was 24 years old.
Yeah, me too. Okay, what about you guys? How old were you guys?
14.
So
I was in 8th grade when that movie came out.
I was going to say 8th grade freshman. So that was probably a very influential movie for your freshman year in high school, correct?
Oh, they were telling all the jokes from Superbad.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It was the most quoted movie of our freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
It's not even a question what the answer is for me. Superbad over American Pie all day.
So this is generational then. If I said Caddyshack, you were just missing on everything.
No, I love Caddyshack. I love all the old comedies, but they're in such a... Like, I have a very strong opinion about this. They're in different phases of where comedy was at.
Yeah.
Like, American Pie came out because, you had the late 90s rom-coms and everything, and American Pie, it's like, whoa! Swearing! And, all this stuff that's going on with high school. But then Superbad came out in the Judd Apatow time, where it's like 40-Year-Old Virgin, and then, Knocked Up, Pineapple Express, all of them were coming out.
Boy.
So, they're in completely different phases of comedies, So, Superbad, though, number one for me.
So the poll right now.
They're both great.
They're both great. So 134 votes right now. Superbad leading. 57.5%. American Pie 42.5%.
Break yourself, fool!
So right now, Superbad leading in the question, which movie is more of an instant classic, American Pie or Superbad? American Pie to me, though. Man, this is tough.
I mean, the dad basically will be the dad in American Pie, even though he's done the Creek show, which I don't want to say it on air because I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, all of those characters will forever be... Stifler will forever be Stifler.
He's a legend. Right?
He's the fastest kid alive.
I mean, the book and the choir boy. What about the guy going to the choir player lacrosse and then he finds a chick? Bandcamp. I mean, Bandcamp.
Tatiana, was that what her name was? What was
forget what her name was.
Nadia.
Yeah.
I knew it was an Ia at the end.
Yeah, this is going to be very controversial.
Let's get into the main.
You guys know a guy named Jimmy? You totally look like his brother.
Speaking of Jimmy.
Oh, my God.
All right, so I saw something float across the timeline this morning. I woke up. I was exhausted from the Giants game. We'll get back into the Giants in a second. And you almost lost your mind. All I did was I saw something online from Chris Sims. Now, last Friday, we found out from Mike Silver that Jimmy Garoppolo, basically, again, from Mike Silver, goes, and it was a throwaway line, but it was something like in the article that Jimmy ghosted the organization immediately after the press conference of signing the big mega deal. And I was like, I'm connecting all the dots.
So let's play the Michael Silver sound.
Okay.
Here's what Michael Silver had to say. In case you guys didn't hear it, here's what Michael Silver had to say on Shanahan's issues with Jimmy Garoppolo.
I just think the things that frustrate Kyle about Jimmy, and again, there's some things about Jimmy that are awesome that I tend to, highlight. But I think if you're Kyle, you're frustrated by certain things about Jimmy. One, is he seeing it the way I want him to see it? Two, is he able to get the ball way downfield into, deep windows like I want him to? Three, is he grinding through the offseason? Last year being an anomaly when they had drafted Trey, but Jimmy tends to be a little more removed during the offseason. And four, can he escape pressure / not get pummeled to the point where he's getting hurt a lot?
So that's Michael Silver on the Candlestick Chronicles with Chris Biederman and our very own Kyle Madsen. Chris Biederman will join us at 8:30 this morning live in Minnesota from the Vikings practice facility. So that line where Jimmy has a tendency to just kind of remove himself from the organization in the offseason. All right?
That's the line.
That's the line.
But he also put it in print. Here, before we keep going, you and I have done how many post games from the 49ers over the last 4 years?
Oh, my gosh. Too
5.
Many.
I mean, really.
Too many.
Many. But what was one of the things that I said to you multiple times down the stretch in 2019? It was first, I don't think he sees the field, which is literally the exact same thing Mike Silver was saying, right? And then the other part of this, and I'm trying to connect the dots here, all right? Do I believe every report that's out there? No, but where there's smoke, there's fire for me. Now, you can disagree, and I want to hear your opinion because I'm sure that you have an opinion on this. But, to me, the coach doesn't trust him. Guys are frustrated with how he sees the field.
Well, can I stop you there with the coach doesn't trust him? That was very apparent during the 2019 season.
Agreed.
That the coach did not trust Jimmy Garoppolo. And my biggest beef, my biggest beef with Shanahan over the last 3 years was, if you don't trust a guy, you got to move off the guy.
Fair.
That was my biggest thing.
And
like 2019, I get it. Everybody was up in arms like, oh, he doesn't see it. He doesn't see it. But hell, Peyton, and I'm not comparing Jimmy Garoppolo to the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but I saw a lot of those hell, Steve Young didn't see it in 92.
Yeah, but we also didn't question Steve Young's attention to detail. And if you're the coach, I'm just saying, if you're the coach, let's take again.
But we didn't do that in 2019. We didn't know yet.
No, we didn't know. But I'm saying, if you take a step back, okay, and you say to yourself, I'm working X amount hard, and I'm looking at my quarterback who I've paid more than anyone in the history of the franchise, all right, and I want him to be my guy, and I don't think he's working as hard as I want him to. Can you understand where the trust can? Again, I'm not saying this is exact, but in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I would have a hard time trusting someone if I don't think they're putting in the work and I don't believe that they're seeing the field. And then when they start to struggle, I'm like, well, of course you're struggling. You're not putting in. Again, I'm connecting the dots here. So for me, after I see all of these things line up, makes total sense.
So here's my deal. Chris Sims.
Who we haven't even played that yet.
We haven't played that yet. I could play Chris Sims right now. Let me play Chris Sims right now.
So this came floating over my timeline this morning. I sent it to the group chat, and you were furious.
So this is what I did. Before we play the sound, Shasky sends it at 4:43 a.m. in the morning. We're up early.
ABC, always be contenting.
I tweet back, I roll at Chris Sims. And I'll stop there before I play the audio. Here's the audio for Chris Sims on Pro Football Talk with Mike Florio.
I've heard this from players, ex-coaches there. He goes off the radar all the time. Nobody can get in contact with him. But his first year in offseason there, that's when I was made aware of it. I'm not going to name the player I was at, but I was at an event, and the player, who is a long-standing player with the 49ers, was like, I can't get the quarterback to call me back. I've called him every day for a month. You hear it from everybody. I've heard it from ex-coaches who have moved on and just gone, yeah, it's weird. The organizations tried to reach out to him times and explain things to him. They can't get a hold of him, to the point where I think they've had to drive to his house and knock on the door and be like, hello, are you alive? Are you there? I mean, I think that's why the 49er fan base that wants, why are we getting rid of Jimmy Garoppolo? I think there's more than just the play on the field at hand here. I think a lot of the NFL knows these stories a little bit, and I think that's why maybe we've had some teams kind of drag their feet and not sure if they really want to go all in on the Jimmy Garoppolo trade.
I'm going to try to keep my composure here. I am. Because it feels like a lot of these guys are saying all this to fit their narrative. And a lot of people are eating this up because they've wanted Garoppolo out of town for 3 years. And they've wanted Garoppolo out of town for a number of reasons. All right, you don't think you can play a high-level quarterback? That's fine. Move off. I always thought they should have drafted Deshaun Watson in the first place. Would have never had Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You had no options there. You had to roll with Garoppolo, and you made a Super Bowl, and you lost an NFC Championship game. I get it. Kyle's to blame for some of that. But Chris freaking Sims, the guy who was scorned because, they should have taken Mac Jones. I don't know why they took Trey Lance. Mac Jones this, Mac Jones that. We were told they were in love with Mac Jones. Blah, 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 blah. Do you believe, Shasky, Michael Silver, Chris Sims, beat writers are going to hold this information for this long? So they said the ghosting started when he signed his contract, $137.5 million, 5 years, right after the 2017 season. You mean to tell me that writers, podcasters like Chris Sims, held this information and knew this stuff for 4 years, and now they're coming out with this?
Okay,
come on, that's a joke to me.
Well,
there's no way in hell they're holding that information in for 4 years.
Well, let's couple things. Chris Sims is very good friends and has a tattoo of Kyle Shanahan on his body.
And he's been wrong about everything on the 49ers.
Agreed.
Wrong about everything. Every single... We've mocked him. We've mocked his quarterback rankings. Yeah. We've mocked his podcast. We've mocked his information.
We don't know now, in this day and age, with Adam Schefter basically sending emails to different team employees, we don't know who is under the table for who these days. There are affiliations, and so it's hard for me to sift through the rubble and know what's at face value.
Everything was all pro Jimmy, Mac Jones. He's been wrong about everything on the 49ers. So why should I listen? So why should I?
Because now the tube's out of the toothpaste. I mean, the toothpaste out of the tube.
So why is it coming out right now? 4 years later, 5 years later. Do you believe these guys report everything on the dime minute by minute. Minute by minute, they report everything.
You know
and
why?
I'm supposed to believe that they're holding this information for 5 years? This information about Jimmy Garoppolo?
But Bonta, how many people do we see relationships, we see people in work settings where until it gets a divorce or you're about to leave the company, nobody says anything. We've had people at this station where everybody walks on water for that guy the second they, or gal, the second they walk out the building, everyone's like, let me tell you about so-and-so. Jimmy's out the building, essentially. He's on his way out the door. I mean, this happens all the time in trial cases.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen in the NFL. It doesn't happen with pro sports. Information, how much information we get with Kevin Durant? Kevin Durant, minute by minute, as soon as every little news
the NBA is a little different.
NFL ain't that much different.
But we've heard a lot about Jim Harbaugh after Jim Harbaugh left, right? We heard a lot about Jim Harbaugh.
All the mystery. Maybe. The leak started happening his last year.
I mean, we're watching the Captain doc right now. 15 years later, we still don't know X, Y, and Z regarding the relationships with Jeter and some of these guys on the field. We're not privy to these
listen to the
things.
guys who are delivering this message. The guys who are delivering this message.
So the sources for you,
the
multiple
sources. You think, honestly, Michael Silver reports everything. Everything. Chris Sims reports everything. Him and Mike Florio.
I don't think they report everything.
Mike Florio comes out with articles every single day. He gets into it with writers from out here saying, "Oh, that's not true. That's not." We have Mike Florio on.
But B, don't you also get? So, for example, forget them. I'm asking you. You get a lot of information from a lot of different people. Don't you go through your process of flushing out what to go to air with and what not?
No.
You don't?
We come out with everything. We don't hold anything back. About the sports teams?
Just in general.
No, come on, man.
Just in general.
No. Shasky.
Not everything is to be told.
Shasky. So why would they protect Jimmy Garoppolo? They don't. Jimmy Garoppolo's not friends with these guys. You think people are protecting Jimmy Garoppolo for 5 years? Imagine that. Imagine a quarterback. All right, you said something during the break, and I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here because I'm a little bothered by this.
Why?
If this was Cam Newton.
Yeah, this would lead ESPN.
This would have been leaked the first year it happened.
Probably.
It already did. Cam Newton, well, we don't know about his practice habits. We don't know about his film habits. Kyler Murray was top of ESPN, First Take, Undisputed, all these shows because he didn't watch enough film. It wasn't that he didn't watch film. It was he didn't watch enough film. So let's go blast this guy. Let's blast him. So all of a sudden we're going to have people it makes me sick because Jimmy Garoppolo was a good 49er. Agreed. He was a successful 49er.
Agreed.
And now we're just kicking this guy to the curb, which I get it. It's Trey Lance time. I'm all about Trey Lance. But all of a sudden we're just throwing all type of trash and garbage towards his way, saying, yeah, he didn't respond to us. Yeah, he ghosted us. I have a hard time believing that an NFL starting quarterback is going to ghost his entire organization for 5 months of the offseason. I have a hard time believing that. I really do. And all of a sudden, now we're going to come out with this information 5 years later?
I mean, but
it's 2022.
George Kittle's been talking about this for years, though. I mean, it's not just these two guys. I mean, at some point, I get what you're saying. I understand being skeptical. I'm believing them, and that's that. I mean, again, because I'm trying to connect the dots here. If the coach doesn't trust him, well, why doesn't he trust him? The guy's a good player on the field. There's got to be more to this. And to me, I think
trust him because he's a turnover machine. He didn't trust him in the Super Bowl because he was a turnover machine.
I think it's a variety of things.
He didn't trust him in a 2-minute drill. He was a turnover machine.
When people get divorced, it's not one thing. It's usually a variety of things.
Can you imagine being a head coach and your job's on the line, and your GM and your job's on the line, and the guy's ghosting you after you give him $137 million, and you have opt-out clauses in his contract? Think about this. And you know that he's ghosting you. You're like, wait a minute. We gave this guy all the money in the world.
Which is why I would be so disappointed. That's kind of
why
I am disappointed.
Wouldn't you have moved off of him before 2022?
Well, I think it's really hard to.
This is 5 years later.
I mean, but people stay in relationships forever where the person is either addicted to something because they think they're going to get better or they think that tomorrow is going to be different. This happens all the time.
Shasky. He gets hurt in 2018. You had a chance to move off of him. 2019 after the Super Bowl. You had a chance to move off of him and go get Brady. You had a chance to go get Brady, who you're on.
I know.
You go get Brady. If he's ghosting you, why would you bring him back over Tom Brady? This does not make any sense to me. Somebody has it against Niners and Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know where this information is coming from. I have a hard time because I was a journalist at one time. I used to write articles. You do not sit on something that juicy. This is juicy stuff. This is a NFL starting quarterback. There's only 32 teams. There's only 32 starting quarterbacks.
How many
and you're going to sit on this information for 5 years, Shasky?
Can I ask you
Come
this?
on, man.
No, I'm. Look, sometimes it takes years for these things to come out. Jordan and Pippen. Did we know that the Pippen and Jordan relationship?
Yeah, but it was pre-internet. It was pre-internet.
Well, I mean, there's
pre-internet.
Stuff happens all the time.
It was pre-internet.
Machado right now. And Fernando Tatis. Like, you're hearing rumblings. I guarantee
because
there's
of
way
social
more
media
we don't know about, though.
We didn't have social media during those days. During the Yankees' heyday, we didn't have social media.
You don't believe any of the reports.
It's not that I don't believe it. I don't believe that these writers and these podcasters would sit on something like this for 5 years.
Here's a great test.
It's a starting quarterback.
Okay, just hear me out here. Here's a great. I actually agree with this, and I'll give you an example. Sometimes you don't realize the relevance of a piece of information until you see or hear more information. I've been in situations where I didn't realize in real time someone was on X, Y, and Z in my life, very important people in my life. And then years later, we find out, oh, so-and-so is addicted to X, Y, and Z. And I go, oh, damn. All these other things now, all this weird behavior, everything kind of lines up. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what's happening
Shasky.
here, but there are times in your life where you need the context of going through something to look back and have something else mean more.
Shasky, think about this. You have a starting quarterback ghosting your organization, and you have a chance to go get Tom Brady. And the coaching staff says, well, we looked at the film and we think we could stick with Jimmy Garoppolo. You think they're going to stick with the guy who's ghosting them for multiple offseason? By that point, it's 2017 all season, it's 2018 all season, and then you got a Super Bowl run in which you don't trust the quarterback to run a 2-minute drill. And then all of a sudden you tell the quarterback to throw 4 straight times with the minute 49 left at the 49-yard line, and you blame all the Super Bowl on him. And all of a sudden you don't move off? That doesn't make sense to me. The dots don't connect for me.
But let's go back to that offseason. To get rid of Jimmy, you had to move away a lot of dead money to bring in
the opt-out clauses at a certain point.
Not that year.
You sure about that?
I'm 100%
you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure. They had a dead cap hit of at least 20-something million. Remember, that was the year they traded for Javon Kinlaw. They traded Buckner because of the money situation coming off of that Super Bowl. They had to keep, what's-his-face? They traded for the Javon Kinlaw pick so they could keep Armstead and Jimmy Ward simultaneously. They were up against it financially. So
you could have moved off of Jimmy Garoppolo, Shasky, for Tom Brady.
I wanted to, Bonta.
For Tom Brady,
but
man.
it wasn't just that clear cut and dry. It wasn't that clear cut and dry. And you were coming off the Super Bowl. Plus, you also think people are going to turn around. So, look, man, sometimes the dirty laundry comes out years later.
I don't believe. Do you honestly believe Chris Sims, a guy you've ripped over and over again?
I know.
Michael Silver came out with a report about arm fatigue, and all you guys lost your mind.
But then we found out more context that actually people that were around Trey Lance. Look, man. You can disagree. I believe it. When I see the relationship between him and Kyle, and I go, what went wrong? Why do these two aren't on the same page? I believe this. All right? I believe this. It's, I don't know. You're entitled to not.
No, I find it hard to believe. And if these writers were holding this information for 5 years, then I don't want to read another article from these writers. I never want to hear another podcast from them. I know that, but no, but this was Lamar Jackson.
Oh,
you think this information is going to be held for 5 years?
I don't know. I don't.
If this is Tom Brady,
I don't agree with everybody's reporting tactics.
Yeah, but no, Shasky, this doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make. All of a sudden, he's ghosting him, ghosting everybody for 5 years. A starting quarterback in the NFL. Wow.
So we've had one person, Michael Silver. We had a second person, Chris Sims, and then we even had Barrows on with Willard and Dibbs, and basically confirmed the same thing.
So you know what? I don't want to read Barrows no more.
Why?
If Barrows sat on this for 5 years, I don't want to hear it. He's been compromised. That's not journalism to me. You can't hold information like that. You owe it to the fan base. You owe it to your readers to report information like this. Why are we protecting Jimmy Garoppolo all of a sudden?
Well, because
we're protecting Jimmy Garoppolo for 5 years.
Well, there is a tact where you again, I don't pretend to be a journalist, but I'm sure there's some sort of a tact where you don't want to lose access, you don't want to lose face in that scrum.
You're not losing access.
Well,
you're doing your job,
and maybe you don't think it's contextually important in a given time, but maybe years later or whatever, you do believe it to be important. Again, I don't know what's motivating people to say things when and where. It felt like to me the toothpaste came out of the tube because Michael Silver had a throwaway line in an article on the Chronicle, and now everyone's like, oh, all right, it's out there. I'll say it.
It just feels to me that we're picking and choosing what we believe.
That's probably fair.
And it fits everybody's narrative.
I do that a lot, though.
But it fits the narrative of Jimmy Garoppolo. this fan base turned on Jimmy Garoppolo after the Super Bowl. The last 3 years, he's been a dead man walking in this region. I flipped on him. You flipped on him. Everybody flipped on him.
Well,
and now it just fits the narrative. Which is asinine. But the timing of the story, the people who are reporting the story, Michael Silver's a Hall of Fame reporter. I'm not diminishing anything that he's doing. But all of a sudden, we're going to send on this information during training camp for 5 years. That does not make sense to me. This is a starting quarterback in the NFL, one of the most premium jobs in the world. And all of a sudden, Jimmy Garoppolo's on the way out and was like, yeah, he ghosted the team. That's why Shanahan didn't like him. So we're going to let this guy ghost the team for 5 years? Like, come on, man. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, it doesn't make sense, but that doesn't mean that I can't believe the report.
You can believe it.
I mean,
I don't believe it.
There's a lot of things in the world that Deshaun Watson doesn't make sense to me, right? Yet here he is, operating the way he does, and the way that the NFL has covered the Deshaun Watson thing doesn't make sense to me.
And
I'm not trying to say that there's a right or wrong way to do journalism. What I'm saying to you is that as somebody who is absorbing the information as it comes, am I discerning? Do I pick and choose? Of course I do.
Yeah, that's the problem.
No, I think that's a lot of people are that way.
Listen, I'm not trying to overreact here, but this is why it bothers me, because it bothers me because I've been in these locker rooms.
Okay.
And this guy has been here for 5 years, and the messengers of this story, I've seen everybody around in this region rip these guys. Chris Sims, Michael Silver, everybody's laughed at them. But since they throw away a line about Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy nobody wants anymore, all of a sudden, Jimmy, I knew it with Jimmy. Yeah. Oh, I knew it. It fits the narrative for everybody when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's not fair, man. That's really not fair. That's terrible journalism.
I don't know.
I'm trying to be reasonable here. The dots don't connect to me. All of a sudden, they had a chance to go get Tom Brady.
The dots don't connect. The coach didn't like the quarterback. He had no trust in him.
We've been known that. So you should have got Brady. So you shouldn't have got Brady then. You should have got Brady then.
No, forget Brady for a second.
Right? Shasky, listen to me.
They went up and got Trey Lance for a reason.
Yeah, I know that. They needed a quarterback, and they got Trey Lance, and I'm hella happy with Trey Lance. But you had a chance to go get Tom Brady. And the reason why they said they didn't want Tom Brady, all the reports, they watched the film. They thought Tom Brady was done. He was watched. They had a chance to get Tom Brady.
Why are you so emotionally invested in defending the honor of Jimmy Garoppolo?
It's not defending the honor of Jimmy Garoppolo. I think it's hogwash that these guys are coming out with this report in 2022 when they had a chance to move off this guy. Multiple years.
Why does no one around the league value him?
Because he's hurt. I told you guys in April.
But when you guys Baker Mayfield was hurt.
No. He's throwing the ball now.
So is Jimmy.
No. Jimmy can't throw past 30 yards right now.
I saw him in practice.
That little practice soft toss. Come on, man.
I don't know.
He can't throw the ball. I told you guys in April. Cleveland doesn't want him. The Jets don't want him. He's not there yet. He's going to have to reprove himself as a backup and take somebody's job.
I don't know.
And the price tag and the compensation you have to give up for him.
I don't think you'd be lying about something like this. And does it feel like they're piling on him? Of course it does. But that's what happens. When you're the highest paid employee, you're expected to be there no matter what. Return calls. You got to be the guy setting the tone for the entire organization. Why did it not come out until now? I don't have an answer for that.
I don't
have an answer for that.
Does it come out with Russell Wilson if he was doing this?
Of course it would.
So why is it not coming out with Jimmy Garoppolo?
I don't have
He's a starting quarterback in the NFL, and Jimmy Garoppolo talk and 49er talk has led the way for the last 5 years. It's gotten the most clicks. Our phone lines are lit up when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo. We've done a million post-game shows about Jimmy Garoppolo, the quarterback. People wanted Nick Mullins to start over Jimmy Garoppolo. And all of a sudden, this report comes out, and it fits everybody's narrative. That's what bothers me. The same guys, Chris Sims and Michael Silver, that everybody's ripped for 5 years when it comes to 49er talk, all of a sudden, we're going to agree with them about this report.
Bonta, opinions change on everyone. For example,
it fits your narrative. Just admit it. You don't like Jimmy Garoppolo. It fits the narrative.
I was talking with Willard about this like a week or two ago. To think that everything's stagnant forever is not true. There are certain people that I listen to on some things, I don't listen to on others. I mean, you have people in your life like that. Trent Baalke's a great example. All right. Year 1, executive of the year, as voted on by his peers. By year 5, what did we think of Trent Baalke?
He's stunk, but he's got a job now.
But I'm just saying, opinions change.
However, we thought about that. We had our perception about Baalke because it cost the Niners Harbaugh. We're either pro Harbaugh or pro Balky,
and
we pick the
of
size.
seeing drafts play out, and we felt like they didn't, fill the roster appropriately. I think contextually, as time went on, we look back at Trent Baalke differently. I think we do that in a lot of facets of our life. Like, I get where you're coming from. Why is it coming out now? I don't know why it's coming out now. Why am I believing this? Because I'm connecting the dots of why does the coach not trust the quarterback? Why does he seem to have a disdain for him in certain moments and look at him a certain way? I'm looking at this. I'm like, this makes a lot of sense to me.
Do you believe John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are going to allow a player to ghost them all offseason for 4 or 5 straight years?
I don't think they had many choices. I mean, what are your options?
Oh, you have an option.
What?
Go to Nick Mullins, right? You guys want Nick Mullins?
We all know Nick Mullins isn't as good as him. And
you guys wanted him to start over Garoppolo.
Invested in the guy. You can't just cut someone out of nowhere.
You had opt-out clauses. After years.
After 2019, he had a dead cap of over $20 million, and they were up against, I remember it specifically.
Yeah, but you could have moved off of him. You could have moved. There was real smoke with Brady.
But they had so many financial dominoes.
Oh, so now it's the financials with Brady, not the film that they all told us about.
It's probably a variety of reasons.
All right. Let's go to
You're hung up on the Brady part. I'm not
hung up on anything. I'm hung up on the fact that these messengers that are saying this, you guys didn't believe them for 5 straight years.
So
you ripped them over and over.
If it was someone else, would you have believed it?
It may be true.
No,
it may be true
because you clearly have an issue with the source. But if someone else, let's say it was Peter King.
It's the timing.
Okay, but what if Peter King said it?
I wouldn't have believed it because of the timing.
Okay.
We're all of a sudden going to protect Jimmy Garoppolo? What does Jimmy Garoppolo owe them? Michael Silver, Chris Sims, Peter King.
I don't know.
Why is Jimmy Garoppolo being protected?
I don't know why information
for
comes out
5 years. They're going to protect Jimmy Garoppolo
every day in court. Information gets brought out later, years later, that we never knew, and you're like, how did we miss this? This happens in every facet of life.
So they missed this stuff.
Or maybe they didn't have the context. Or maybe people were afraid to put this out there until he was off the team.
Chris Simpson said he was at a wedding, and players have told me for multiple years. Yeah, when you see Chris Sims on Pro Football Talk, he's talking a completely different thing. It's a completely different subject when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, he's going to hold on to this information. Chris Sims, Shasky, just take a step back for a second.
I have.
Mike Florio, Chris Sims, report everything. They were all over the Niners for the Mac Jones stuff.
But isn't Chris Sims friends with Kyle? So it's tough for me to be able to... I have a hard time with Chris Sims, and I admit this, lining up everything. But when he's not the only one saying it, now I start to go, all right, there's some credence to it.
He was all over Mac Jones.
I know he was.
Scorned about that.
Because I actually, in that situation, I actually believed Kyle fed Chris Sims certain information to misdirect everyone.
So Kyle Shanahan's going to do that to his best friend?
Well, it's not his best friend, but it's one of his friends.
They have matching tattoos,
You've
Shasky.
misdirected me a few times.
Shasky, they have matching tattoos.
Well, that's weird.
They have matching tattoos.
I'm not
They're
here.
boys.
I'm not
so
here
he's
to defend
feed
the tattoo
his best
thing.
friend misinformation? And he's been wrong about everything with the 49ers. Now, all of a sudden, Chris Sims is going to sit on this with Mike
So
Mike
you
Florio.
don't believe it to be true. But let's say it were true. To suspend reality, you don't believe the sources. Let's say it was true. Wouldn't you be disappointed?
Of course. But he's gone now. I don't care about Jimmy no more. He's gone. He's off the team. He's off the team.
So
He's
then
not
why
playing.
are you so upset about it coming out right now?
I'm not upset. It's frustrating that all of a sudden we're believing information because it fits the narrative that we don't like Jimmy Garoppolo. All of a sudden, so everything about Jimmy Garoppolo, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you know what? I believe it.
Filling in the blanks. I agree with that. Well, you don't think it is?
All of a sudden we're believing guys we haven't believed for 5 years.
I mean, the Niners made the boldest trade in the history of their franchise. It can't be because they love Jimmy.
Come on.
I mean, there's other parts to this.
Let's go to Anthony and Pinole. Anthony and Pinole, what's up?
Good morning. So I need to set the record straight. Bonta, when you weren't here, Joe, so first and foremost, Joe is full of crap right now because he was the one that was so, quote-unquote, emotionally involved when this information came out last week.
When did I say I wasn't disappointed? Anthony, you come in here and you try to come at me every day. When did I say I wasn't disappointed in Jimmy?
I know it's not about coming at you, Joe. It's about being fair, and I feel like you coming down Bonta's road trying to make it seem like he's some sort of apologist for Jimmy G.
It feels like it.
I'm not
from the high heavens on Friday. You were screaming from the high heavens on Friday about this like it was such a big deal, and
it is a big deal.
It's over. It's not a big deal at all because the Jimmy G thing is over. He's gone. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that why is this coming out now?
Oh, his phone clunked out. Call us back if you want.
You know why it's important?
Call us back. And I'm not defending Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, it feels like it.
No, because you're taking it like that. We can't. First of all, I'm
that the highest paid 49er didn't give 100% effort 24/7, 365. So sue me.
I'm disappointed that you guys love Sean Hill a lot more than Jimmy Garoppolo when Jimmy Garoppolo's done a lot more for his organization. Stop it. You guys disrespect Jimmy Garoppolo at every turn. Every turn, Jimmy this and Jimmy that. The fact that this information is coming out now, and the writers, and the source of the writers, that's the problem. The source of these guys. Mike Florio Christian's going to sit on something for 5 years. Really?
I can't explain that part of it.
Michael Silver's going to sit on something for 5 years.
But information comes out later all the time in all sports.
The same writer.
Kobe and Shaq stuff, all the breakups with Kobe and Shaq. We found out more years later.
Michael Silver, you cannot stand Michael Silver. You haven't believed he comes out with the Trey Lance arm fatigue, yada, 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 and oh my God, Michael Silver's done nothing. We don't care about him. All of a sudden he comes out with this throwaway line, but it fits the narrative that people don't like Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo's this and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Like Anthony said, now, Bonta, it's a narrative. Filling in the blanks of why the coach didn't ever trust the quarterback.
Because the guy couldn't make throws.
This provides context to me.
It's not
one thing. It's many things.
You know what? If he didn't trust him, we would play Trey Lance last year.
Well, I mean, there's
he would have
more
played Trey Lance last year.
There's more to it than that.
He would have moved off of him.
You know that.
He would have moved off of him. They would have moved off of Jimmy. They wouldn't let a guy sit here for 4 or 5 years and ghost the organization. Think about that. That doesn't make any sense. A guy's just going to ghost this organization for 4 straight seasons.
Was he diving headfirst into his playbook? I'm asking you, did
I don't
it look
know.
like that?
I wasn't with him every single day.
It didn't look like that to me.
I wasn't with him every single day. Trey Lance says he learned a lot from Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, well, that could be true. I mean, duh. You can learn how to be a professional when you're walking from Division II to the NFL.
He also had to rehab one all season. Right? From a torn ACL?
Yeah. And again, I just don't understand why. I don't understand why you wouldn't believe these ones when it just feels like to me it's totally contextualizing where these two have obviously not been on the same page.
We're just picking and choosing what we believe when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's it.
We're picking and choosing.
What are we not picking?
We're picking and choosing. These same reporters, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. These same guys I've heard you guys for 4 or 5 years, disrespect them, laugh at them, laugh at the quarterback rankings, laugh at Florio and all these reports. And all of a sudden, they sit on this for 5 years. I have a hard time. Me being in the game in broadcast journalism and guys are sitting on this for 5 years of protecting Jimmy Garoppolo just because he's a nice guy? I mean, I have a hard time to believe.
Wasn't Kelly Oubre on the Warriors last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Did we know how much that Steph hated playing with him until a year later?
No, we knew it during the games. I don't think when Kelly Oubre was screening in the same spot.
Nobody was writing articles about that.
No, because you didn't do it during the game. Because you're writing the game, you're covering the game.
So can't the same be said for all the beat writers?
Steph Curry's body leg was Kelly Oubre Jr. be standing there in the corner like, yo, you're supposed to be screening for Steph so he could get into the corner. And then we were talking about that. We talked about that the day it happened, the night after.
That's the same way I view Kyle Shanahan looking at Jimmy Garoppolo on the sidelines. I'm using that same exact body language, which told me there's more to this.
This is another one. This is a great text. This is a great text. And let's move off of this. 510. Michael Silver's the same person who said Mullins may start without citing a source. Remember that in 2019?
Mullins did start.
Yeah, when Jimmy got hurt.
I know, but
when Jimmy got hurt.
He did start.
When Jimmy got hurt, but this is 2019.
Well, I don't know, man. Look, people can hate all they want. They don't want to believe it. That's fine. I just think that this is very interesting, and to me, you're in denial if you're not willing to at least go, wow, not one, not two. We have multiple layers of people saying this
You're in
now.
denial if you don't think this is fitting your narrative about Jimmy Garoppolo. I get it. You guys don't want Jimmy Garoppolo here, and I get it. He underwhelmed you guys. He came up short in the NFC Championship game. He threw bad interceptions. He disappointed us all in the Super Bowl. Again, Shanahan had as much to do with that Super Bowl loss as Jimmy Garoppolo.
Of course.
But it fits everybody's narrative that, he didn't hit the playbook. How the hell do we know what he's doing in the offseason? Are we with him 24/7? Maybe he wants a private life. Maybe he wants a private life. Who's telling us?
We're listening.
Give me a player.
George Kittle said it.
He joked about it.
No, he literally said
joked about it.
Matt Barrows, can you play the Matt Barrows sound?
Oh, my
This is Matt Barrows on Willard and Dibbs last week because this got brought up. Can you play that sound for me right now, Steven?
Oh, yeah. Jimmy was notorious for not returning text, for disappearing. And George Kittle has lamented about that in a joking way. You know, once the season ended, there was no Jimmy. He was like, what was the name of the guy in A Few Good Men? Lieutenant Markinson, the guy who just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
He's Lieutenant Markinson. So yeah, that's not a surprise. I mean, remember the COVID year where a lot of these teams had to kind of practice on their own, and it's usually left up to the starting quarterback to be the organizer, the guy that brings all these guys together. And Jimmy really didn't do that.
Again, I don't.
So why isn't this not reported before?
Dave, who's kind of laughing about
this is your job. You don't think? Hold on, let me take you behind the scenes real quick.
I'm not a journalist,
If I'm a sports editor at the Chronicle, or if I'm the sports editor at the Athletic, and I'm Matt Barrows, and Matt Barrows like, yeah, man, Jimmy's not really organizing any all-season workouts. I'm a sports editor, and I know how rabid this fan base is, and we know how important the quarterback position and how glorified the quarterback position is in San Francisco. Then I'm saying to myself, hey, Matt, you need to dig a little deeper, find out what's going on here.
But isn't there also, and I'm asking you, isn't there also an element of, wow, you've been covering this team and they were horrible, and all of a sudden Jimmy gets here. Let's give him a little leeway. He's the number one guy.
No. You report it. You do your job.
You don't want to alienate the guy
Greg Cohn takes shots at the organization. He's got a credential. He's got field access.
He's the only guy that really goes above and beyond in terms of criticism. So he's carved out his own lane.
You have to do your job.
For that.
You have to do your job. Your job as a journalist is to report the news, report the facts.
But unless you have
this is juicy.
I agree.
This is juicy.
I agree. It's
but now we're going to come out with it in 2022.
Look, I can't defend the timing, but when you get information, it's up to you whether you want to, discerningly believe it or not.
Hey,
I believe it.
You can believe it. I don't believe it. But here's the fact. Here's the biggest fact of them all.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo's no longer part of the 49ers.
Well, he's still
I'm tired of talking about him. I'm tired he doesn't have a playbook. He's not going to the meeting rooms.
I agree.
He's not a part of this football team no more. But you guys are stuck on Jimmy Garoppolo, and every little nugget these reporters feed you, the same reporters that you guys disrespected for years. All of a sudden, we're going to believe him on the time of the story.
You're worried about the source. I'm asking you to just take away the sources.
I don't believe it.
If Jimmy Garoppolo, forget that.
I don't believe a quarterback
but if he
goes to his team for 5 years. 5 years?
Well,
goes to his team?
Talking about the offseason. If he did, wouldn't that be a horrible indictment on a franchise quarterback? A guy you paid more money than anyone? Wouldn't that? That's why it got me so angry. Because if that's, and I believe it to be true, if that's true.
Yeah, of course you do.
Well, again,
of course
you wouldn't be pissed off?
Of course you believe it's true.
I spend my hard-earned money to go to these games. I have emotional investment in this team. You are the highest paid employee in the organization.
The same quarterback helped you get to a Super Bowl and helped you get to an NFC championship game.
Both
Did he not?
Be true.
Did he not?
Yeah.
So what are you mad about?
I'm
he
mad
helped your organization become relevant.
Super Bowls.
He helped your organization become relevant.
Well, I mean,
the same guy you are disrespecting helped your organization become relevant again.
I'm
yes,
saying
you guys are. You guys disrespect him all the time.
I disagree.
Had great moments in 2019. He clunks it up in the playoff game, and then you get ready. All right.
It's the same thing I said about Shaq. Shaq, if you worked on your free throws more, you'd be a better free throw shooter. You could play in the last 2 minutes of games.
Still a Hall of Famer, one of the best 5 centers in the world.
Yeah, he was born with gifts that Jimmy would drew for.
Can't be a perfect player.
No one's saying you got to be perfect.
They hired a free throw coach for Shaq.
At that position, when you're getting paid that amount of money, there's an obligation to go above and beyond. That's my way I view quarterbacks.
Chris Biederman, A30. Maybe we'll move on to Trey Lance. Or maybe we'll move on to Jimmy Garoppolo goes to the organization. I'm so tired of Jimmy Garoppolo. Been talking about Jimmy Garoppolo for 5 years. God, can they just please cut Jimmy Garoppolo and move on?